Okay, guys. Fair warning. I broke my mic, so I'm having to call myself on my iPad, but I have to have the sound on, so there's going to be some echo. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go over the Gaiazos and explain my reasoning for those. When we first made our initial vote, I just sent the video and gave timestamps, and my voting committee decided it was 0 to 3 when I went to bed, but when I woke up, I decided to go for it again. And I watched the video frame by frame at like 25 speed or 0.25, and I got all those guys their gifts and took everything and kind of blew it up and voted again, and it was unanimous. I went to multiple other RCLers and known people throughout the community just to get second opinions, and it was still unanimous. So our voting committee is kind of small right now, but just because we have a small voting committee does not mean I'm going to halt the function of Clan Discord. None of you guys were complaining when I banned all those other people yesterday. Banned like 20 people. Anyways, let's start with the first one. Let's get to it. All right, so this is the first part of it. There's two parts. So here's my argument. He kind of moved. Starting here, he doesn't see this person right here, and he goes to the left and kind of follows him. And yeah. At first, someone on my voting committee made the argument that he saw the naked person, this person right here, moving to the left, didn't know he died, and just still rotated over to the left, assuming that he would peek out. That's fine and all, but why was Sentrum's cursor under this person the entire time? An argument can be made for that just being a coincidence. Sure, it's definitely valid, especially because Sentrum's cursor wasn't really moving, which is moving with his body movement. So yeah, that could just be a coincidence. But it's not a coincidence when you have this many instances in a full video, 5 minutes of him putting his cursor on people behind walls. So let's move on. Okay, so in this recording, or in this GIF, his cursor, let's see. Just watch the cursor for a second. That's point A, that's point B, and that's point A. So when you're running forward, or if you're moving, it's near impossible to keep your cursor in one solid and single position. So as he's moving forward, his cursor is not only in one single position, but it's on that person's head. So yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, but not enough to get him banned. But combined with everything, things are starting to stack up. Let's go on to the next evidence. So this is actually right after that. His cursor goes right onto that person through the wall. He's walking forward, and for no reason, his cursor goes onto that person. That's not where you pre-fire. If he was going to pre-fire, he would have angled his camera to the right and put it right about there, where his teammate is. But no, his cursor went in a spot where generally you wouldn't put your cursor, and it was right on somebody behind a wall. So yeah, there's another instance of him magically having his cursor on top of people through walls. All right, here's an instance. Watch these dead bodies, and then he goes onto that person. When his cursor goes onto this person, it's not as definitive because it doesn't necessarily freeze the way it does on these people. But notice how his camera angle is moving while his cursor is frozen on these people, and these dead bodies, and right above their heads, as it is on some of the other evidences. It's like right above the head. So yeah, his camera's moving and his cursor is still above their bodies. And if you don't understand like the physics and the concept of this, go into a game and try and like aim at one definitive spot, but hold your right click, and you'll see how hard it is to be as accurate. Because when you're holding right click, it's like this weird third person FPS combination that's just impossible to gunfight with. So yeah. But with that, his cursor would still be moving. But in this case, his camera angle is moving, his cursor is not, and it's right above the head of dead bodies. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so this one like really perplexed me. So before you even look at his cursor, I want you guys to notice that this person right here is in spawn and he jumps up. See how he jumps up and then he goes back down? I want now that you've seen that, I want you to watch Centrum's cursor. Notice how his cursor goes down. And that's not just with Centrum jumping down. His cursor is not in a still position and it's just him moving down. You can see he's actually dragging his cursor down. And in that case, this is one of the more blatant evidences that I think kind of put all the pieces together. There's just really no explanation for that. His cursor's A, right on top of the person, B, moving down as he moves down. I don't really see where you can make a counter argument for that, but let's move on to the next one. So this is right after that. I forget what this one is. Yes, goes back onto their heads on that area. Second time this has happened in that area. So usually when you're peeking or pushing this area, you'd put your cursor right above that ledge or against this block. So you put it right there or right there. So that's where you'd kind of have your cursor when you're pushing, because you want to like have your cursor in the proper position where you think somebody's going to come. Either that or the tunnel. But his angle wasn't really adapted for the tunnel. He couldn't really either way. So he pushes through here and puts his cursor on that wall. Generally, that's not somewhere where you'd usually put your cursor, but it could just be a coincidence. And then you factor in he's putting it on top of someone's head again. So let's look at that one more time. Putting his cursor right above his head through a wall. Once again, coincidentally. Who knows? Maybe that's cheating. Let's go to the next one. In this case, he comes out of spawn, instantly puts his cursor above two people's heads. And it's more of like an instant, it's one of those point A to point B circumstances again. He doesn't really drag his cursor anywhere, he just puts it on top of this kid's head, and it goes right to that guy. Just point A to point B. Doesn't make any fucking sense. So yeah. Now, based off of all that, our main argument is through the 3 or 4 minutes that this video has, all these instances of him putting his cursor behind people or through walls on people, especially right above their head, because of that fact, the argument for this just being a coincidence and him putting his cursor in places where people normally put their cursor for pre-firing, etc., can't really make that argument because it's happening so often. Like maybe if you had, let's say, 5 instances of putting your cursor where somebody was behind a wall in a 30-minute raid, it wouldn't be definitive. But in a 3-minute video where there's like 10 or 15 instances of him repeatedly putting his cursor on people through walls, especially when it's specifically right above their head, you can't really make a counter argument for that. There's no argument for it becoming a coincidence. So that is why we decided to make the ban announcement. That's our main argument. The fact that this can't be a coincidence and that it happens so damn often. You can look at every little drop of guys or gifts that we have and you can make all your little counter arguments for it. But when it comes down to it, when you put all of them together and you factor in how many times he put his cursor over people through walls, that is why he was banned. So that's it. And now I'm going to go over the petition that Exkion, or however you pronounce his name, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, he made a petition, and it has all these people on it. Let's look at this. If you notice, if you just give it a glance, it's mostly ROA people and Valania, however you pronounce it. Exkion is the person who made the document, obviously probably linked it to his announcements on his group, and that's why his group is mainly supporting it. B, Sentrumn is a member of ROA and has been a member of ROA for, I believe, well over a year. So that's why there's so many ROA. So yeah, based off of that, this petition cannot be deemed accurate or valid because of bias. And yeah, that's about it. So overall, the main purpose of Clan Discord is to make this clan world a better place for all of you. To make it to where you can go competitively gunfight and competitively function as a raiding clan, war clan, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, and not have to deal with as many cheaters. Obviously, we can't get get rid of every cheater. It's impossible. The only thing that we can do is create anti-exploits, which is starting to happen. For my BUSM, we actually do have an anti-exploit that could prevent hitbox spinning, and I know there's anti-exploits for hitbox spinning. ESP, pretty sure there's anti-exploits for that. Aim lock, not so sure. That's more of a I think so. I talked to a scripter once, and he told me there was really no way to prevent aim lock. But either way, over time, as technology advances on Roblox, especially with the climate that we live in, where cheating is so prominent, there will be preventatives put in to stop cheaters as soon as it happens. So that's going to happen eventually, I hope. And so yeah. But as of right now, there's really no way to prevent cheaters other than going off of evidence and banning. And like I said, we can't ban all of them, so it's not going to have a completely clean clan world. But the point is, we're trying to make a better clan world for all of you, so you can have fun and not have to deal with cheaters every time you go into a raid. And I don't want to ban people. I really don't. But when you cheat and use exploits to play better, it has to happen. There has to be some kind of punishment for it. And obviously, Clan Discord is not judge, jury, and executioner. We are simply a outlet to speak to all of you and give us our evidence. It's not like I make my ban announcement and then all of you have to follow and get the fucking line. That's absolutely not how this works. You guys are all the clan leaders, clan members, and clan high ranks of the clan world. You make your own decisions, you make your own choices, and you ban who you want. You imagine you can view people however you want. We're just giving you the evidence and our opinion of it. We're not going to expose people who, well, we have done this before, and I apologize for that, as I have done in the past. We have made ban announcements where it wasn't solid, and we came back on it. And I'm fully willing to come back on this if it's not valid evidence, and if somebody can make a real claim against it that's valid. Sure, if Centrum wasn't cheating, he deserves to not be deemed as a cheater. So I'm fully open to that. If someone wants to come to me with valid evidence that he's not a cheater, sure. But as of right now, there's no valid arguments against what I've provided. So just to sum things up, I'm just doing this to make this game more fun for myself, more fun for all of you, and I'm just trying to get rid of the people that make this game unfair. So yeah. Later, guys.